Shalom, this is Rabbi Akselrad, and welcome to another edition of Torah Talk Unedited. Have you ever let anger get the best of you? I think we all have. But sometimes that anger can change the course of our entire life. When you look at this week's Torah portion, Chukat, we find the situation where the Israelites have been wandering in the desert for decades. And once again, they come to Moses and they plead for food and water. Well, Moses is pretty upset with them because once again they say, we want to go back to Egypt. He's been with them for decades and they're still complaining. Well, he appeals to God and God says, listen, Moses, talk to this rock. The water will come forward. Things will be better for a while. Well, Moses has let the heat, the long journey get the best of him. And instead of talking to the water, he takes his staff, his rod, and he hits the rock and water comes forward. What's the difference? Well, the commentators have a field day on this one, because what happens is God punishes Moses and says, because you hit the rock, you won't be able to enter into the promised land. What was so bad? Well, for the one thing, he lost his temper. And when he lost his temper, he decided to hit that rock, which interfered with God's instructions. Just talking to the rock would mean that there was no interference by Moses. It was purely God, purely a statement of faith. But hitting that rock could mean that there was a trick involved. Maybe he moved the rock, maybe he moved that stone and water came forward, and therefore Moses would be the hero. Well, this Torah portion ultimately is about a statement of faith, and that the Jewish people were bound together, not because of their faith in Moses. He was their leader, but ultimately they had to be bound together by their faith in God. Sometimes it's not about the dreamer, it's about the dream. The promised land was the dream. Moses was the dreamer. He was the greatest leader of all time. But even still, he had his imperfections. And what God wanted the people to remember is that once they entered that promised land, they had to keep on dreaming. They had to raise up great leaders, but they had to maintain the power of the dream that where they lived was a holy place, Eretz Yisrael. And that holy place would be a home for them and for their children and their children's children up until this very day. It's about the dream and not the dreamer. It's about the faith that ultimately we have in God. This is Rabbi Akselrad. Thank you for tuning in to Torah Talk Unedited. Shalom.